What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you back on the channel. On today's episode, we'll be looking at the key differences between nylon and polyester, specifically for you sportswear designers who are considering between these two powerhouses of fibers. Obviously, these are two of the most available and widely used synthetic fibers in the market, and a question that I often receive is, Shadi, what is the difference between each and which of the two should I use? I'm considering to design a pair of leggings. Which of the two should I use? Which one is better? And though this is a little bit of a difficult question to answer, it can be answered nonetheless, and it does depend on your specific use case scenario. So on today's episode, we'll be comparing and contrasting both within the framework of a legging design, and ultimately, I'll be giving you guys the characteristics of each and giving you guys my reasoning between selecting between each of the two fibers. And at the end of this episode, you'll walk away with a better understanding of the differences, and you'll be able to make a decision on which one is going to be the right option for you. What's up, design family, and welcome to Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. In terms of format, I'll be structuring this video by looking at key characteristics of each of those two fibers, and on each characteristic, I'll be providing practical examples in terms of how these characteristics involve themselves in the performance of a typical pair of leggings. We'll start off at the beginning with nylon and polyester. Typically, the chemical name that you're going to see for nylon is polyamide. Obviously, if you're living in the United Kingdom or in Australia, polyamide is the term that's going to be used, versus polyester, which is polyethylene naphtha. We don't call it that, we typically call it polyester, so bear that in mind. When it comes to the manufacturing methods of both nylon and polyester is created as a liquid first that's mechanically spun and dried into the fibers that are then made into the actual textiles that we wear, versus polyester, which starts off as a plastic or sort of an oil-based plastic that's then spun into threads chemically and is then made physically into the textiles that we wear. I want to start off this comparison by comparing and contrasting the wearability of both nylon and polyester. Both of these fibers are going to do a great job at wicking sweat away. Nylon is pretty much well known for having an extremely low moisture absorbency, so it's going to do a great job at repelling sweat away, and any garment that's going to be made out of nylon is going to be a great workout shirt. On the other side, polyester is also extremely good at wicking sweat away, but it does have the added benefit of being extremely wrinkle resistant. Why is this a positive? Well, consider this. Let's just say you have a shirt or a legging made out of nylon. That legging is going to pick up wrinkles a lot more readily than polyester. If you're living alone or you find it difficult to iron your clothes, then polyester is definitely going to be a much better option to keep that crisp and clear appearance that you're going to want day in and day out with your garments. Durability wise, both of these fibers perform phenomenally. They're both synthetic and they're both built for durability, but there is a minor difference, and the devil is in the details here. When it comes to nylon, yes, this is an exceptionally strong fiber. It's abrasion resistant and it's resistant to the effect of both chemicals and oils. On the flip side, polyester is also strong. It's resistant to stretching, shrinking, and it's resistant to most chemicals, to most oil stains, and in general, it does have a phenomenal abrasion resistance. So both perform exceptionally well, but definitely polyester is going to have the edge here. So if you're looking for a fiber that is exceptionally durable and is going to stand the test of time, it's going to last longer, then polyester here is going to be your better option. Next up, we're going to look at the melting point and the flammability of both of these two types of fibers. In the case of nylon, this is going to be a fiber that melts and burns extremely rapidly. So as soon as you put it under an iron, you can expect to completely lose the fiber, to lose the fabric completely. On the flip side, polyester is also a garment that's quite readily flammable, but it doesn't melt and burn as readily. So I'll give you guys a clear example. Let's just say you're looking to create a laser cut pair of leggings, and when it comes to laser cutting, you're going to apply a laser that provides a lot of heat to the surface. So when it comes to your selection, is it nylon or polyester? Polyester here is going to be a much better option for you, specifically because the melting point is higher, and at the same time, the amount of fiber melt that you achieve with polyester, that you get with polyester, is going to be lower. So it's going to be much more ready to take on a laser cut pattern than something like a nylon fiber. So if you're going for laser cut items, definitely stick to polyester. This wouldn't be a sportswear textile comparison video without actually mentioning the elephant in the room, which is the environmental friendliness of both of these fibers. Yes, they're both synthetic compounds, and at the end of the day, they are going to be made out of chemicals and oil-based pieces. So none of them are particularly environmentally friendly. But though we have nylon, which is readily available on the market, so is polyester when it comes to recycled options. Since polyester in general has a much higher production capacity, we typically make a lot more polyester. It's a lot easier in the market to find 100% or largely recycled polyester. So if you are trying to go for an environmentally friendly option, let's just say you're trying to create a pair of leggings that's made out of recycled materials, you're going to have a much better time trying to locate and source recycled polyesters as opposed to recycled nylons. Now let's actually talk about the comfort aspect of both of these types of fibers. And comfort, especially when it comes to a pair of leggings, is going to be a paramount characteristic that we're going to want to go for. When it comes to the similarities of both nylon and polyester, they both share the characteristics of being quick drying, lightweight, and smooth. But nylon has an edge here in the sense that it has this warm and familiar appearance to it, and just the hand feel in general of nylon. It is, after all, called synthetic silk. It was created as an alternative to silk in the early 19th or 20th century. So when it comes to the hand feel and the overall comfort level, nylon has the edge here. It's going to have a warmer feel to it and a much more plush and softer feel to it than something like polyester, which is just going to be slightly thicker and slightly a bit more slick, and it's going to have a little bit of a rougher feel to it. When it comes to the appearance and the color fastness of both of these types of fibers, nylon on one side is going to be lustrous, and it is going to be available in a wide range of colors. It has a great color fastness, but when we compare it to polyester, polyester typically tends to come out a little bit more accurately in its colors, and it holds on to colors much better over time. You can also apply much more vibrant colors to a fiber that's made out of polyester versus something like nylon. So let's just say you had a pair of leggings and you're trying to create a neons-based collection. Yes, you could theoretically create it with nylon, but you are going to have a slightly more matted appearance with nylon, and over time, the color vibrancy is going to wane versus polyester, which right off the bat, you're going to get a much more vibrant color, a color that has a lot more depth and richness to it, and it's going to have a natural shine to it that you're just not going to get with something like nylon. When it comes to the allergic reactions of both of these fibers, as well as the odor control, both of them have the ability to naturally repel away allergens, but typically both of these fibers are known to hold on to fishing resins, which can actually end up causing these allergens. So you can't get away from allergic reactions if you're someone that's prone to having allergic reactions from synthetic fibers like this. But on the flip side, when it comes to odor control, everyone knows that polyester just unfortunately holds onto odors much more readily than something like nylon. So if odor control is something that's important to you, you can either consider doing an anti-odor wash or an anti-odor finish, or going with nylon is going to give you a little bit more of that natural odor control that you're not going to get with polyester. When it comes to sportswear textiles, we definitely need to discuss and contrast the maintenance and the ease of cleaning of both of these fibers. In general, both of them share very similar characteristics in terms of how you can clean them. Both of these fibers are easy to wash, they're mildew resistant, they can be dry cleaned, or they can be dried on low heat. Polyester can be ironed. Nylon is a little bit of a tricky one. Yes, it can be ironed, but it can be ironed on low heat, and you typically need to have another layer of fabric over it, so it's a little bit more laborsome to iron than something like polyester. And on the flip side, polyester can actually be dry cleaned versus nylon, which cannot be dry cleaned. So that is definitely something to bear in mind. In general, polyester is going to be slightly easier to clean and to maintain over time. One important characteristic to note, especially if you're working out outdoors and as we move into the summer months, yes, the sun is going to be shining. If you want to work out outdoors to get that sweat on, you're going to want to consider the UV resistance of each of these two types of fiber families. On the one side, nylon, yes, it does have some form of UV resistance, but it's nowhere near as potent in terms of its resistance as something like polyester. So if UV resistance is something that's important to you, for a pair of leggings, I would definitely recommend polyester. Last but not least, we need to discuss the costs associated with both of these two types of fibers. And in terms of calculating the costs, we need to look at the worldwide availability. Statistics tell us that when it comes to nylon, we're producing around 3.9 million metric tons of the fiber per year, which amounts to around 11% of annual synthetic fiber production. On the flip side, when it comes to polyester, we're producing around 21 million metric tons. This here amounts to around 58% of total global production of synthetic fibers. So yes, polyester is going to be a lot more readily available, and it is per meter, it's going to be cheaper than nylon. So if you're on a budget, you're going to want to opt for polyester. So what is the actual conclusion? Which should you use? Should you use nylon or should you use polyester? This is not an easy question to answer, but if I was to give you guys my overall recommendation of both of these types of fibers, when it comes to nylon, this is the mindset that I would be in. For nylon, and to pick nylon over polyester, I would be trying to prioritize a softer feeling garment, a garment that had a bit more of a matted appearance, a garment with a little bit more natural stretch to it. Nylon in general feels a lot more, or a little bit more luxurious than something like polyester. And also, in general, nylon, or most types of nylons that we see on the market, because there is a lesser production, tend to be of higher quality than the polyester counterparts. Bear in mind that different factories are going to produce these fabrics and these fibers in different qualities, but because of the more limited production of nylon, you're going to come across better quality nylons more often than polyester. On the flip side, when it comes to polyester, this is going to be a great option if durability, ease of care, let's just say color fastness, color vibrancy, sweat wicking, overall performance is at the forefront of what you want. So if your pair of leggings is pushing that performance aspect, polyester is a great option. If your pair of leggings is a lot more of a casual piece, it's more of a lounger piece, then nylon is going to be a lot more comfortable, and in general it's going to have a little bit more of a luxury hand touch and hand feel to it. Well guys, that is it. That is a wrap on this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed this direct comparison of nylon and polyester, and hopefully you walked away feeling a little bit less confused in terms of which of the two fibers that you want to use. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to see others like it, please consider subscribing to our channel. We put out great content on a week-to-week basis. Also, you can check the link in the description. I offer one-on-one consultation calls with limited slots every week. Let's just say you're looking to start your own brand, or you have questions regarding how to scale your fashion brand forward, then definitely check the link and we can hop on that call one-on-one. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fittdesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.